All right, so welcome, Leon, and thanks so much for being with us today. Pick n Pay, a leading retailer in South Africa. So why wouldn't we start with introducing the Omni-channel project, and you tell us about the organization and about yourself a little bit.
Thanks, Oren, and thanks for allowing us to share our story today. I am part of the testing capability within Pick n Pay, looking after the testing. And the story today is around what we've changed and how we enhanced the testing within our omni-channel space, more digital transformation. Part of that is our chatbots that we have, our websites. We have USSD SMSs that we can manage resources and selling groceries and airtime, etc. We have an online shopping site. We have where you can buy general merchandise. We have a 60-minute or ASAP delivery. We've partnered with one of the grocery deliveries in South Africa, Mr. D, as an example. Online clothing, and then we have a smart shopper app that is our loyalty program. Going into about Pick n Pay. Pick n Pay is one of the leading retailers in South Africa, established in 1967, around about more than 1,600 stores in 7 countries in Africa. Head office is in Cape Town, South Africa, and our IT division is more than 300 employees. A little bit of myself. I head up the TCOE. We have a fully fledged test center of excellence looking after customer applications. Our test center now has got 25 resources, and we're expanding as we speak today. I have 26 years testing experience in retail, banking, and mining industry, and I am now 8 years with Pick n Pay.
Thank you. So as part of Pick n Pay's efforts to establish the Omni-channel program, you wanted to make sure that all deliverables are delivered fast on time and with high quality, of course. So in order to achieve that, in large scales initiative and products, what were your challenges and how did you solve them?
Thanks for asking that question, actually, Oren. I think it's important to understand that although we had testing in the omni-channel and our digital channels, we embarked on a process, a TPI process, test process improvement, and we had a look at what do we need to do to be quicker to market, be ahead of our competitors in South Africa. So the first challenge we had was less time. We had a look at how can automation play a role within the whole SDLC in the omni-channel. How can we catch up with the local dev stories? We do have an agile Scrum approach in our omni-channel. And then we had a look at what are the Micro Focus tool solutions that we can use. We are a Micro Focus tool shop. We have most of the tools. It all came down to that we had to change our view on bringing in Octane as a SaaS model, and then start from there and how we can interact using Octane as the base into the different testing tools from Micro Focus. And then also we have Jira as an external backlog tool. How can we interact into that tool? So from a less time, bringing in UFT, executing from Octane, sharing the results back into Octane, then obviously into Jira. From a release confidence, what can we do and how much we change so that we don't have all of these manual testing happening at the end of the release? How can we bring automation forward, and how can we align with the development lifecycle? And then from a visibility point of view, and that's quite important, is how can we show confidence in what we've tested before we make the go, no-go decision? And there, we decided to go the DevOps model. And everything is around Octane and how do we use the Micro Focus sync and test management add-ons to actually share results between Quality Center, Octane, and then at the end into Jira.
All right. So it's important maybe to mention here that you're actually using Octane on SaaS, and you're actually using
Yes.
our platform, the AI-based VSM solution that we now call Value Edge, and we'll refer here to Value Edge and Octane the same way. So as you said, in order to get into these challenges and work the way you expected, you did adopted DevOps tooling and methodology. So you really had to make some major changes into your process. So let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, before we actually get to that, what I would like to share is, if we have a look at a DevOps approach, it starts from plan, build, test, deliver, and operate. What we've decided is we are going to focus on the build and test, specifically around how can we interact with the developers upfront, and then from a testing side, focus on functional and not only automation regression testing, but also functional automation testing. And then have a look at the total life cycle, the quality, using the integration hub that Micro Focus provides, and then the analytics coming out of that. That aligned us to get the agile and the dev teams and the QA teams aligned and being part of the same team, and then spill over into the release teams. A different view on that is the famous Micro Focus slide, the application delivery process. And from there, we started focusing on points number 5 and 6 was really what we were looking at: continuous integration and continuous testing. From a continuous integration is build in from GitHub, build in all the processes, integrations into Octane, once there's deployments that we can kick off testing immediately, and that allowed us to focus on the continuous testing portion. I have to specify at this stage that we focused on the functional side, performance and security testing is we will discuss at the end of this. You mentioned. Yeah, you mentioned that we've changed our processes, and what we've mapped out is this is our current, or that was our current development process. Sprint planning, go through the sprint scope, define it, create the local branches, write the stories, test it by hand, submit the pull requests, go through the whole process until we deploy to QA, and that's block number 13, and then only we started normally engaging from automation and a manual testing process. What we've done is we've changed that to say, well, when the developers actually start with the local branches, we can pull those local branches into an automation machine and manual testing virtual machines that we've created, and now we can all of a sudden we can start to capture the components, create the objects, add everything to the automation framework we have while they write the code, and we then now help them test the code while they write it. And this is an ongoing process. While the developers are busy from points number 3 to points number 9 or to point number 8, we actually continuously engage with them and help them, and making sure that the code that goes into the release are actually tested on a unit level. From there,
really,
yes?
maybe I will ask here that we treat these continuous testing effort as our developers or development process safety net. So, out of curiosity, how many events of build and test you run per day?
Depending on how many developers work on that, but this is a continuous process. We can run the same scripts up to 10, 12 times a day. This is still in our development environment. We have a 3-tiered environment. We got development, we got QA, and then into production. This is still not in our QA environment. We'll get to that, but this is a continuous process. Depending on the number of user stories, the number of code they write, we continuously on a daily basis test that. I cannot answer how many cycles, because that can vary from 1 to 100, depending on how big that user story is and how many issues or early bugs we get while we test. To continue with the process is then, once the code is ready to deploy to our QA environment, it goes through the build in GitHub. Bamboo, while they build the release in Bamboo, we can actually now update our end-to-end processes to have the new scripts in that we've automated and the manual testing. That allows us, when they start to deploy, we have a automated smoke testing that we run, no manual intervention. This is all part of the continuous testing process that we've identified. And once we're happy that the environment is stable, now the automated regression and automated functional testing will start, and there's obviously always some manual testing that we need to focus on, and we bring that forward into the process. Changing this process allowed us from a 3 to 4 week turnaround time to get it released into production, down to a week. We can, once something hits our QA environment, we can safely test all functionality with regression testing within a day and a half.
Excellent. That's really impressive. You slashed it down for longer time to shorter times of delivery. Are there other outcomes that resulted from this changing process?
Yes, there's definitely, with the visibility that we've built into Octane, with the results and the execution results, and even bringing in the automation execution results into Octane, the visibility is there. We don't have questions anymore. Are we sure you can go into production? The go no-go decisions are made quite easily, and if it's a no-go, it's really because there's something critically wrong within the application at that stage.
Excellent. So prior to the change, you have used multiple micro-focused solutions, including ALM Quality Center, and if I understand correctly, your R&D teams use Jira for the backlog management. So from the tooling perspective, what has changed to support this changing process?
So I think it's important to show, firstly, what did we have. I've mentioned before, we actually use the Micro Focus ALM tool sets. And what we've added ALM Octane as a SaaS model. And we use the Micro Focus Connect and the test management capability within MF Connect to actually share results into Jira. But what's quite interesting is, if you have a look at our landscape, and you see that the tools that we have, ALM Octane, as you mentioned, that is now called Value Edge. We run that as a SaaS model. Quality Center, we host in our AWS cloud. We have UFT1 and UFT Mobile, that's local installs. And then we also have service virtualization that we run on a local instance in our test center. So we have a combination of SaaS versus on-site, off-site models in the testing tools that we use, and I must say it's working 100% for us.
And it is related on integration using the MF Connect solution. So let's see how this works in your case and how you connect it all together with Connect.
Yeah, because obviously it's just not a plug and play. We had to map out what is it that we actually want to do. So our first, if we go back to what our challenges was around visibility, and what we decided to do is use Octane as the base, as the truth and the only truth. And so we have the test cases and the results into Octane. If we test, we pick up a bug, we log that bug in Octane, actually, not in Jira. We log that in Octane. From there, we link the bug to the stories, the releases, and the fed task. A fed task for us is a front-end development task. And then we actually sync this back to Jira. We sync the results back to Jira, and we build relationships via Jira for the bug, so that we know which bug is linked to which story, which release, which fed task. And we do that using, from the results, we use the test management plugin. That's part of the Micro Focus Connect. And for the rest, we use the Micro Focus Connect. It is also important to actually show, if we have a look at the entities between Jira and Octane, what do we actually sync? We have a one-way sync from stories that's captured in Jira to stories in Octane. The same with the fed tasks. From a bug side, we create bugs in Octane, but we sync it back to Jira, and then anything that the developers update in Jira, we get that back we get that back into Octane, and we also close once we've retested the task or that bug. We close that in Octane, and we pass the status back into Jira. And the last bit is from a releases point of view, we go release management Jira, and we actually sync that over to Octane. And doing this allows us to build that relationship that, if you click on the test results, you know which bugs are in, what are the fixed tasks, what are the backlog, etc.
So wow, that's awesome, and it actually brings all solutions to work together. Where Octane, if I get it correctly, is your one-stop shop for visibility, to get all visibility from whatever tools that are used, including Jira, including Quality Center, and that pretty much makes it all work together based on this integration.
Correct. I haven't shown the Quality Center integration here, but that is simple. We use Quality Center still for our automation execution, and we actually we execute from Quality Center, we save the results, we integrate into Octane, we have it in Octane, and then via the test management tool, we can actually link the automation results and execution to the Jira task and the stories and the Fed tasks that we have.
Amazing, and so that's all have been achieved, and as you said, it works smoothly. Then maybe let's look at your roadmap. What's coming? What's next in the Omnichannel project?
Yes, it's always, we believe that you are never on top of your game when it comes to testing. The testing landscape changes on a weekly, monthly, and even daily basis. So we've identified 3 areas that we need to look at for the next 2 to 3 years. And the first thing is shift left testing. We need to make sure that we are actually we understand where we want to go. Where does security play a role? How can we reuse the automated unit testing and the reusability of scripts? How can we do that? How can we plan that and structure that on a component level to reuse as we go on? Then from a DevSecOps, that's just I think that's one of the bigger changes that we will do the next 12 to 18 months, is making sure that security is actually part of our landscape, that security is actually part of our testing lifecycle, and it belongs to the Test Center of Excellence. So security is a shared responsibility, and we aim to integrate security controls in the early stages of the software development lifecycle rather than implementing it at the end. It's no use giving us a pen test at the end of or every 6 months and say, hey, these are the issues you have. Why don't we build that in as we code and as we go along? We've done a successful proof of value with using the Fortify tools from Micro Focus. We've actually used Fortify on demand, and we are busy building the business case to take that forward. And then the last part is, and this is a sensitive subject within our landscape, Jira's been around for 10 plus years in the Pick and Pay area from a development side. But we are looking at what is the value that Jira is bringing versus what do we get out of Octane? And is it possible that whatever we do in Jira, we can do directly into Octane? And if that is the case, then there will be a change.
So, and we at Micro Focus will be more than happy to help you achieve all these great targets and goals going forward, including the Jira to Octane part, of course. So, in conclusion, for all the great things that you have achieved and all your great plans ahead, is there anything you would want to add in conclusion or call out?
Yes, I think it's important for everyone that's going on a journey on a test process improvement plan, that they need to make sure that whatever they plan, that they can deliver smaller blocks of the bigger plan. In our environment, it's important to show progress as we go on and not try and work in a silo and then 8 or 10 months later say, this is what we've achieved. So we've broken our plans down into weekly and monthly deliverables, And we've played that back to the management team within Pick n Pay to actually show that we are making progress. And in doing that, we've built a confidence on all the plans that we're executing.
Excellent. We work together on a case study, and this is available online for those who want to get more information and more details on the Pick n Pay story with the Micro Focus tools, and especially with your changes and changing methodology and changing in concepts that you went through. So it's all available on this link. I want to greatly thank you, Leon, for this enlightenment during the session. Thank you for the time you took talking to us today, and thanks for sharing your very successful journey with us. And I wish you and us continuous prosperity together.
Yeah, thanks, Oren, and thanks for allowing us to share our story on this platform. I think we are always grateful to share what we've done because we're proud in what we've delivered, and we are willing to share that with anyone and everyone that's interested in listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon.